people would cry if they knew the truth. That's what Remy Ma said, calmly, almost casually. No long explanation, no emotional rant. Just one sentence that sounded less like heartbreak and more like a warning. And ever since those words hit the internet, people haven't stopped asking the same question. What truth is she talking about? Because when the legal wife of a man at the center of a very public romance starts speaking in quiet hints instead of emotional outbursts, the story suddenly feels very different. It stops sounding like celebrity gossip and starts sounding like there might be something bigger sitting underneath the surface. To understand why this situation has the internet dissecting every detail, you have to go back to the beginning of the relationship that built the reputation everyone remembers. Papoose and Remy Ma weren't just another hip-hop couple. For years, they represented loyalty in an industry that rarely shows it. Their relationship survived prison sentences, career setbacks, and constant public attention. When they finally married in 2016, the story felt almost legendary. Papoose had stood by Remy through some of the hardest moments of her life, and fans treated their marriage like proof that real loyalty still existed in hip-hop. That image became their brand, the ride or die couple. Two strong personalities standing side by side. And even now, years later, there's one detail that makes everything happening today more complicated than people realize. That marriage has not been legally dissolved. The divorce has not been finalized. On paper, Papoose is still Remy Ma's husband. And that single legal detail is the foundation that every other part of the story sits on. Because while that marriage still exists legally, another relationship has been unfolding very publicly. And the person at the center of it isn't someone who moves quietly. Claressa Shields didn't enter this situation as an unknown name. She's one of the most decorated boxers in the world. 2 Olympic gold medals, multiple undisputed championships, a fighter whose entire career has been built on proving people wrong. Her personality is confident, direct, and unapologetic. So when her name started appearing next to Papoose, she didn't hide from the attention. She leaned into it. Instead of keeping the relationship private, she spoke openly about it, posted about him, defended him online. And slowly the internet started noticing that she wasn't behaving like someone casually dating a man with complicated circumstances. She acted like someone who was already deeply invested. But the moment that really turned the conversation into something bigger happened when she started talking about the future. Earlier in 2025, Claressa said publicly that she wanted a baby that year. Not years down the road, not someday in the future. That year. She explained that she didn't want to wait until her 40s to start a family and that she planned to temporarily step away from boxing, have a child, and then return to the ring afterward. That alone would have been a headline, but then she connected that plan to a specific person. She said she wished she could surprise Papoose with a baby for his birthday. Not flowers, not a gift, a baby. And the moment those words hit social media, people stopped scrolling and started paying attention. Because when someone publicly links motherhood to a man who is still legally married to someone else, the internet doesn't react quietly. It investigates. Every post started getting analyzed. Every comment became a clue. When Claressa showed off a Van Cleef bracelet that Papoose had gifted her, fans zoomed in immediately. When someone in Papoose's comment section asked him how he liked his eggs, Claressa answered before he did. Scrambled. Hard. I know exactly how he likes his eggs. It was a small moment, but people understood the message instantly. That wasn't just flirting. That sounded like someone who knew him inside his daily life. Someone who felt comfortable claiming that space publicly. Then there were other comments that added fuel to the situation. Claressa talked about being submissive to her man and treating him like a king. Fans quickly noticed the contrast between that dynamic and the one people had always associated with Papoose and Remy Ma, where both personalities were strong, vocal, and equal in the spotlight. Suddenly, the narrative looked like 2 completely different relationships built around the same man. And then, things got even more complicated. Some boxing insiders began suggesting that Claressa might cancel an upcoming fight. Her training schedule looked different. People thought her appearance looked slightly different. And instead of immediately shutting down the rumors that followed, she didn't rush to clarify anything. She allowed the speculation to circulate, and because she had already publicly announced a 2025 baby plan, fans started doing what the internet always does. They started doing math. They looked at interview dates, social media posts, training schedules, public appearances, the timeline of when the relationship may have started. They tried to figure out whether everything had unfolded cleanly or whether the situation had more overlap than people realized. And while all of that speculation was happening, Remy Ma responded in a way that surprised almost everyone. She didn't post long emotional messages. She didn't argue with anyone online. Instead, she dropped two things that landed harder than any rant could have. The first was the sentence that started this entire conversation. People would cry if they knew the truth. The second was an Instagram post that looked simple but carried a very specific message. Claressa had shown off one Van Cleef bracelet from Papoose. Remy posted a picture wearing multiple Van Cleef pieces layered together. No caption, no explanation, just jewelry. To most people, it looked like a quiet flex. The kind of message that says more without saying anything at all. The energy wasn't heartbreak. It felt almost calm, like someone who wasn't panicking because they believed they were still holding information the public hadn't seen yet. And then Remy used another phrase that caught attention. She referred to Claressa as Papoose's come-up. It was an interesting choice of words. She didn't insult her. She didn't attack her appearance or her character. Instead, she questioned the motivation behind the relationship. Was this about love or about positioning? Because standing next to someone like Claressa Shields comes with a lot of visibility. An undisputed champion in her prime is a powerful public partner. By framing it that way, Remy planted a question in people's minds without needing to explain it. And that's when the internet split into two completely different camps. On one side were people who believed Claressa and Papoose were simply in love and moving forward with their lives. On the other side were people who believed Remy's calm confidence meant she knew something the public didn't. The situation became even more layered when Claressa secured a reported multi-million-dollar deal, and Papoose publicly celebrated it. He congratulated her loudly and even told her he loved her. That looked like commitment, like a man standing proudly next to the woman he was with. But once again, the same complicated detail hovered over everything. The paperwork underneath the situation hadn't changed. Public affection and legal reality were existing at the same time. And Claressa didn't slow down after that moment. If anything, she doubled down. She said she wanted 4 kids with him. She joked that people would be punching their steering wheels when they saw how things played out. That's not quiet happiness. That's competitive confidence. And when someone speaks about building a family, partly in terms of how upset it might make other people, the internet doesn't see that as a private moment anymore. It starts looking like a statement, a declaration that she believes she has already secured her place. But every time those declarations appeared online, the same sentence from Remy kept resurfacing. People would cry if they knew the truth, because in a situation like this, timing is everything. If a pregnancy announcement eventually happens, it won't just be seen as a celebration. It will become a timestamp. Fans will measure it against interviews, social media posts, and the legal status of the marriage that still technically exists. If the timeline looks clean, the narrative shifts heavily in Claressa's favor. If it doesn't, then Remy's quiet confidence might start looking a lot more like patience. And that's why this situation refuses to disappear from the internet. Because it isn't just a story about romance. It's a story about narrative control, about who defines what the truth actually is. Right now, 3 different people are shaping 3 different versions of the same story. Claressa is speaking loudly about the future she believes she's building. Remy is hinting that she knows something the public hasn't seen yet. And Papoose is standing publicly beside one woman, while his legal reality still connects him to another. Whether this is genuine love playing out in public, or something more complicated unfolding behind the scenes, is the question everyone is still trying to answer. But until that truth Remy mentioned actually comes out, one thing is certain. The internet isn't done investigating this story yet.